my intro. Maybe I need to write something on the keyboard. When I was 11, I went to Italy, which was really cool. Our neighbors were in the military. I mean, we were military. But we were stationed in Naples, Italy, and they lived in Gaeta, which was down on the southern, I don't know, insole of the boot. But I got to go to Rome. I got to go to Pompeii, Florence, Monte Cassino, which was interesting. But I got this box of rocks from Pompeii. And it's, it's pretty neat. It's got sulfur and, covalina, funky comedina, olivine. Anyway, it's just a neat thing. And, I would have never had it still. My mom had it. So I got it from her. I've now burned everything in the box. I have a problem. I'm going to get replacements. I mean, they're rocks. What's 30 years to a rock? My point is, what is 30 years to a rock? Because sulfur is really lustrous. It's yellow, almost golden in its appearance. Just a bright yellow. And it was still nice and bright, nice and lustrous, nice and golden yellow 30 years later, after I've got it, which tells me that sulfur and oxidation don't go together, right? In other words, sulfur doesn't oxidize. And I find that interesting. I find that very interesting. And we'll talk more about that later. I first probably heard about alchemy in my astronomy class, my first year of college when I was like 19 or 20. Community college. And it was in the first chapter. It's basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but, astrology and alchemy are bullshit. No, it was. It was something akin to what we learned in elementary school about, people that used to think the world was flat or that the earth was at the center. And we didn't just learn it that way. We learned not only did they used to think that way, but they're stupid because they did. I mean, that's how it was taught. That was the subtext, I guess is the word. At least that's what I felt when I was in elementary school. I guess I was a conspiracy theorist back then. So in order to answer the question, or rather to start this process of attempting to transmute gold from base metal. Can't quite see a thing in there. What it says that alchemy is, and astrology is inside of alchemy, as is science. But what academics say it is that it's transmuting base metals, usually lead, into gold, which is a claim made by academia. Now, if you read, alchemy is connected to what's known as Hermeticism, what's known as Gnosticism. It is about a spiritual transmutation. It's about changing yourself. Now, personally, I happen to love science, and I got turned off by it when I learned it was just a bunch of math. I'm like, I mean, I didn't mind math. I just, I wanted to be hands-on. So if you think of the term agnostic, right? Agnostic means basically that you kind of think that we can't know, what's going on beyond life and the practical world, the material world, right? And so there's no value in considering it. And I respect that opinion. I mean, that's, I respect everyone's belief. It doesn't. The only time a belief bothers me is when it, affects someone else's ability to believe or to be free, and choose the life they see fit, right? That's the primary right of the human, right? To choose, your own life for yourself. Unfortunately, for just about everyone in the world, we are born into nations that have laws and rules and belief systems and conditioning systems, because everything is conditioning. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to understand that whether it's benevolent or malevolent, we're conditioned from birth, right? I speak English because I've been conditioned to speak English. Conditioning is how we learn, but it's also, you can learn things that are wrong, right? I got some silver, cal, silver. I got some bronze, copper heavy bronze, smelted by yours truly. Bismuth, find your own bismuth. And then we got some zinc. Got some certified gold, which is different than other gold, in the way that it's certified. And if agnostic means you don't think you can know the great beyond, then Gnostic is the opposite, which is, you think maybe it's worth looking into. And that's kind of where I found it. Because I always believed that it was worth looking into. I always felt that there was something more. All the religions at the time when I was a kid, none of it really jived with me. But I didn't look into things too heavily. I just kind of went off what I heard, Anyway, we'll talk about Red Bull. The reason we're going to talk about Red Bull, and I'm not talking about the drink, I'm talking about the Red Bull of Heaven, which was in Akkadian religion, back in, the Fertile Crescent. And obviously, if you're familiar with the Christian Bible and the Hebrew, I guess it's called the Torah. I'm not sure which is which. I know there's a few when it comes to Hebrew texts. Anyway, there's a lot of mention of oxen. There's a lot of mention of bulls, calves, right? Worshipping a golden calf. There's a lot of speaking about getting the yoke for the oxen. Sir Isaac Newton, who went to Trinity College, came up with the laws of thermodynamics, laws of kinetic motion. He believed that there was scientific information encoded in the Bible and other religious texts. Guy had no idea what he was talking about, except for, making a pretty good description of the laws of the universe, which I guess is, it's, not everybody does that. And what's interesting, if you've ever played a video game, or played a board game, or, studied elements or planets, you're going to find that these deities have properties, right? Like Hermes is the herald of the gods and the protector of human heralds and protector of merchants and thieves, and he's a trickster, and he's associated with the caduceus and the winged helmet and the winged sandals, and his counterpart is Mercury, whose counterpart is Thoth, it's all woven together, right? And it's a lot to get into. So rather than do that, I just went in the same order as was recommended by the alphabet. So I just looked up the letter A, and it's pretty interesting, and it makes its way back to metal pretty quickly, because everything makes its way back to metal pretty quickly. The academic overlords, I don't know what else to call it. I ordered a new kiln. There's been some broken crucibles. I wonder why. There she is, electronic crucible. I'm going to tell you right now, that's about the worst, most simplified and incorrect explanation or description of something that I've ever seen. This is pretty bad. I'm going to be pretty bad on melting some metal with this new indoor kiln. Well, I guess this is what they're talking about. What the hell am I doing with my life?